I always found Kyudo, or Japanese archery, to be fascinating, because what do you mean? What do you mean that you have a giant bow, and the way that the arrow is fired is from the lower third of the bow? Why is it not in the middle? Why does the bow look like this? Well, the answer is really simple. It's horses and shields. I have talked about this here before, but when the majority of people are thinking of samurai, they're thinking of the classical interpretation of a heavily armored Japanese knight wielding a sword. And it's like the sword is the main weapon, and that's not the case. The samurai, for the majority of their history, fought as mounted archers in the same way that the Mongols did. The problem is that the bows that they use are massive. Now, for infantry, a massive bow is not exactly a problem, because being anywhere between 5 to 6 feet tall, you have a very long bow, you can fire from the middle, everything is fine, and that is how the majority of people would actually use them. But when it comes to mounted forces, typically speaking, the more common thing to do, like in the case of steppe people, was to use a recurve bow, where the bow was kept smaller, but because of the way that it was built, it still had a lot of power. In fact, in many cases, more power than what you would have from a longbow. The Japanese, though, they used longbows, and so in order to enable them to be able to use them from horseback, the arrow was fired from the lower third of the bow, thus allowing it to not hit the horse as they were riding. But also, interestingly enough, for the Japanese, this applies as well to infantry, because one of the things that they would use is standing shields and fire behind them. So, by the bow being able to be fired from the lower third of it, you can actually hold it up and fire, versus trying to kneel behind the shield, and because the bow is too long, you're not able to hold it properly underneath. You can actually stay protected while firing, so it works.